and I had another video where I was talking about not settling for basic care as well. And I want to just talk a little bit more about that. So, and just give you guys some updates on what we've personally seen with our clients. So here's one scenario with a client. Make sure I don't get ran over. Had a lady who was in rehab. I think she was there for a couple months. Now, mind you, she had a COVID flare-up, and she had quite a few other underlying major conditions going on. She's also a bigger lady, and her mobility was already impaired, but still late 60s, early 70s. And she was kind of walking when she came out of rehab. And then home care came in. She fell once while she was home, and then really did not keep walking at that point. Ended up being a sit-to-stand lift. So it's one of those mechanical lifts that help you stand up out of the chair. So it's pretty much living in her lift chair. So she would go from the lift chair to the bedside commode, back to the lift chair. So spending like 99% of her day in that lift chair. And was that way, I think, on and off for like 6 to 7 months. So was dependent on a lift, unable to get up on her own. Home care came back in. They never got her back up. Well, the family ended up calling us, and they said, hey, you know, we want to try and do something more for mom. This just isn't working. We feel like she's capable of doing more. So we get in, and I think it was about 2 weeks since home care had last finished with her. And I just said, hey, you know, like what were they doing? And she said, basically they just did exercises with her in the chair. So that's OT and PT. So they weren't trying to get her up, not doing any of that at all. Well, we go in, start seeing her. So within the first month, she's starting to transfer pulling up on the stand-up lift without assistance. So going from a full lift to being able to stand up and down on her own, someone just holding onto her gait belt. And then probably within like another 2 months from there, able to actually stand with a walker, not with a lift, with a walker. Now it is from an elevated chair, from her lift chair, but stand and pivot to the wheelchair. And then from there, I think it was probably about another month and a half later, we're walking 40 feet 3 or 4 times in a session. Yeah. And when we got in, therapy had essentially told her, this is just where you're at. This is just where you're going to be. There's really not a whole lot that we can do. No. One of the other big things that we ended up doing with her too was I got her out of the lift chair. We got her into a hospital bed. So she's actually able to lay flat, and we were able to stretch her and do some better positioning for her. Another one of our clients who is right now in the rehab, and part of the reason why I've been so agitated about what's been going on with her, because prior to her being admitted, she was supervision for everything. So she could use a walker. She was able to get up and get down. She was able to get into the shower, do all of those things with a little bit of assistance. Ended up with a UTI, fall, and actually a fracture. Oh, dang, we got people mowing lawns. Let's turn around. Won't be able to hear me. And end up in the facility. Facility's like, she's so complex. We have to do a co-treat every time. It takes 4 people to stand her up. I have now successfully stood her by myself with a bar. My assistant has also successfully stood her by herself, pulling up on a bar. Yeah. We also have another client who was in the same rehab facility, came home, had been home for about 6 months. Therapy had been in. Kind of a similar situation to our first client. They have a stand-up lift. I'm like, what was therapy doing when they came to see you? Exercises in the chair. I'm like, did they ever try and get you up? Nope, couldn't get her up. Okay, so we've been in about a month now, and she is now able to pull up with a stand-up lift with one person assisting her anywhere between 6 to 10 times and be able to statically stand. So stand there for anywhere between 15 to 30 seconds each time. Whereas initially we were seeing her, they weren't able to get her up at all. And this individual had also had a caregiver in there that was like, I don't know why you guys are working on any of this stuff. There's no way you're going to get better. So I just want to say this as a reminder. I got dust all over this phone. Pulling Pocahontas along here. Just because someone tells you this is how it's going to be, this is your current status, that does not mean that is true. Okay? Do not take what they say as law, as a truth, as that's what's going to happen. No. Where there is a will, there is a way. See about getting another therapist to work with you. Call us. Let me see what we can do. I'll even give you another example. So we have a virtual client. Again, home care had been in. Home care is like, oh, she's at her max potential. And now, mind you, this client is older. Like she's 98. Had a long hospitalization. Had some respiratory issues. Lost a lot of weight. Had really regressed because pretty much was independent with a device, getting dressed, moving around the house. And now at this point, though, when therapy's discharging her, she needed help to sit in a chair. She needed help to get out of the chair. She needed help to get dressed. She's using a walker. Like, for instance, when we first started working on transfers in and out of the chair, you had to lower her into the chair. Because if you didn't, she would just slam into the chair. She did not have the strength. If you wanted to work on dynamic reaching tests, like reaching out of base support, she could not do that without having someone holding on to her, some sort of upper extremity support. And the other thing, too, is her shoulder mobility was really restricted. You guys, just think about it. You're somebody who's gone from being really active, and then you end up in a hospital bed. What happens? And we're all rolled up. We get super tight. That posture gets terrible. And then we're impinging. We can't lift up overhead. So got some pulleys. Got her doing the pulleys. So now she's able to do dynamic balance stuff. So like stepping out of base of support. No upper extremity support. So no hands. She's now getting on the balance pad, the foam pad, reaching out of her base of support. Getting in and out of the chair, she is able to lower herself slowly and controlled. She's able to get up and out on her own. She's getting dressed on her own. She's still walking with a device, but much more stable, much more flexible. As far as her shoulder mobility goes, she was here. We're all the way up here, and she really enjoys using the pulleys. So again, guys, just because you're told this is your baseline, that is not what it has to be, okay? There's always something you can do. Look for somebody that works outside of the box. They're not just putting you in this cookie cutter little mold. No. So, I just wanted to get on and chat about that. So just as a reminder that just because somebody says one thing, that does not mean that it's the truth. You want to work hard? You can find the right people to come and help you make that happen. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. Get out, walk, eat some protein, keep exercising, and I will chat with you guys later. Thank you.